Okay, now that I have somewhat of a baseline where you're at, we can go ahead and begin. You're going to solve for the x variable in these equations right here. So this one here, remember what I said in the video what you were watching yesterday. First off, your x has a multiplier of 5. You want to put a multiplication dot and circle the multiplier or the divider. There's going to be 1 on every single one of these. Then you make your wall. And you do that plus, minus, times, divide thing, but none of these problems you won't have to plus or minus on any of these problems, okay? Because outside of the 5 times x on this side of that little wall, there's nothing outside. So I get rid of that. And so the equation we have has multiplication, so we need to divide, okay? That's what we're going to be doing. So I underline both sides, okay? And you got to divide by the right number. A lot of people get confused on what number you put under the lines. You put the number that's multiplied by x, which is 5. And that allows you to cross out the 5's, and now the x is by itself. And then 35 divided by 5 is 7. So x equals 7. Which makes sense because 5 times x equals 35. Now that I know x is 7, 5 times 7 is 35. Okay, example 2, solving for x, okay? Now again, remember, always circle either your multiplier or your divider. This time I have a divider. So make my wall. And again, plus, minus, times, divide. But again, I don't have to do the addition or subtraction because there's not a number outside the x divided by 5. So get that out. And then, since the equation has a divider, we ourselves need to multiply, okay? So what I do to multiply is I just put a dot on each side. Now, again, a lot of people get confused with the number they need to put there. But we always take the divider of the x, and that's the number we want to multiply by. Because I can cross those out, and now x is by itself. Then 6 times 5 is going to be 30. So go put 30. Because the original equation said x divided by 5 equals 6. Well, having a 30 for x would be 30 divided by 5 equals 6, which makes sense. Okay, next problem. We're going to dot and circle the multiplier. Make that wall again. The wall does help, okay? I can tell you from experience. Okay, so we don't have to do any adding or subtracting because there's nothing other than the negative 8 times x. So I have negative 8, I see times, so I need to divide. So I underline each side. That's how I divide and to solve equations. And the number that's multiplied by x is negative 8. So I go negative 8, negative 8. Okay, remember, and you're going to cross those out, and then x equals. Now, if you don't know your negatives very well, you can use the negative button on your calculator. Okay, here's a negative button, so I'll go negative 72 divided by negative 8. And that's going to be a positive because I'm dividing a negative by a negative, so it's 9. Okay, so x equals 9. Okay, next question. 10 equals x divided by negative 8. Again, you want to circle your multiplier divider, and that's the side you're going to put the wall on. It's like a wall. So on that side of the wall, you don't have anything outside, so the plus minus step I don't need to do. I have the times division, okay? Now, I have a divider, so I need to do, if I see the divider in the equation, then I multiply. And to multiply, you put a dot on each side. And you're going to be multiplying by negative 8. So, because that's the divider. So negative 8, negative 8. That allows me to cross those out. Now x is by itself. And over here I take negative 8 times 10. Negative 8 times 10 is negative 80. Okay, so there's my solution. Okay, example 5, 60 equals negative 6x. Okay, so again, you have a multiplier of negative 6. And again, you're going to make your wall. So plus minus times divide. Again, you don't have to do the plus minus step in this worksheet here. Okay, then the equation, I see multiplication as times as the operation, so I need to divide. Okay, to express division, we underline both sides. And again, to avoid confusion on the number to put under your lines, you just simply, it's the number that's multiplied by x, because you want the x by itself. So you're going to put negative 6, and I can now cross those out, because they're, and then 60 divided by negative 6 is negative 10. So negative 10 equals x. Okay, next problem. This time you have a divider, okay? Now that dot I was putting in the videos yesterday, if your x has a divider, meaning it's underlined with a number under it, don't put the dot. You want to just circle the divider. There's a line. Again, in this video, we don't have to really do the addition or subtraction, because that operation's is null and void, meaning it's not happening. Okay, so I have a divider, so I need to be multiplying. So I put dots, that means multiplication. And what we need to multiply by is the divider of the x, which is negative 3. Because over here, that allows me to then cross those out. So I take negative 6 times negative 3, and that's 18. Okay, so x equals 18. Okay, example number 7. Here's my x as a multiplier of 16. So plus minus times divide. Okay, there's nothing out, again, that step right there, don't have to do it because there's nothing outside. So I see a multiplication in the equation, so I'm going to have to divide. So I underline both sides, and 16 is, because 16 is the multiplier of the x, so that's what I need to divide by. A lot of people will put 64 under both lines. No, don't do that. Okay, it's got to be the number that's multiplied by x. Okay, so 64 divided by 16 is 4. So 4 equals x. And it doesn't matter the order you write it. You can write 4 equals x or x equals 4. The order you write your answer is not important. Okay, and the last one, 6 equals, excuse me, x divided by negative 2. So again, x has a divider. Make the wall. Then plus minus times divide. But again, that step in this worksheet is not going to be applied. So I have a division operation. That's what we have in the equation. So I myself need to multiply. I got to do the opposite. So I times and times. But I got to decide what I'm going to multiply each side by. So under the x we have negative 2, so that means negative 2 is what we multiply by. Get rid of those. So negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. So I have negative 12 equals, and I got just have x over here, so the equation is solved. Okay, now pause the video, pause it, put it on pause, and then go work through these problems here on the back end. And when you're done, unpause the video, because that's not going to take all class period. Okay, now in this video here, okay, negative 1 equals x plus 5. We have to find what number x is. Alright, so your x doesn't, at this point, doesn't have either a multiplier or a divider. So you want to put a multiplier of 1, okay, and you're going to circle that and make your wall. Plus minus or times division. Now we will be doing the first step here because outside the multiplier of 1 you have a 5. So what you want to do then is put 5 and 5. Don't underline it, okay, because you're not dividing. Okay, a lot of people will underline it. No, I'm not dividing on this step. I'm either going to add or subtract. Now, if your 5 is positive, which it is, okay, you're going to put a minus 5, okay, because 5 minus 5 would be 0, and then a minus 5 on that side. So I drop my equals, and over here I take negative 1 minus 5. That's going to be negative 6. If you know that, just write negative 6, but make sure you're proficient with that. And over here you got 1 times x. So that step's done. Now I see a multiplication. I'm going to divide, but watch what's going to happen here. I would want to divide by the x multiplier, which is 1. But negative 6 divided by 1 is negative 6. Okay? So basically, if I have a multiplier of 1, I can just cross out the 1 because that is my answer over there. Because anything divided by 1 doesn't change. But it's good to put the multiplier 1. I'm still going to do it. Just when I get to that step, I'm going to cross out the 1 multiplier. If you have a multiplier or a divider of 1, you can just get rid of it. But I want to see the multiplier of 1, okay? Because it will help you. Just trust me on this. Okay, next one. X has no multiplier divider, so I put a multiplier of 1 and I circle it. Make your wall. Now we have a number outside the little circle that I made. See, on that first pack you just worked through, you never had a number outside, so you didn't have to do that step. Now you do. You got a 3. So you put 3 and 3. Don't make a line, okay? Just put 3. Now look at your 3 and you see it's negative, okay? It has a minus in front of it, means it's negative. If it is a negative, you're going to add 3. Because negative 3 plus 3 is 0. I can cross that out. So I have 1 dot x, and I can go negative 6 plus 3, negative 3. Now you do have a multiplier, but since it is a 1, you can get rid of it and you have your answer. I mean, you can divide by 1, that's fine, okay? But it's kind of a waste of pencil lead because it doesn't change. It's just going to be negative 3. You can only do that when the multiplier is 1. Okay, next one, example 3. Okay, now multiplier 1. All these problems in this packet have a multiplier of 1. Okay, now outside you got a 2, so you need to put a 2 and a 2 and decide which you're going to do, plus or minus. My 2 up there is positive, so I subtract 2, because 2 minus 2 is 0. Then I go negative 6 minus 2, negative 8. And that completes that step. Alright, now I have a multiplier, but it's a multiplier of 1, so I can get rid of the 1, and x equals negative 8. By the way, if that's like a 2 as your multiplier, you can't cross it out. You have to actually divide by 2. But since it's 1, we're good. Okay, put a 1 as your multiplier. A lot of people think on that problem negative 7 is a multiplier. No, it's not. There's a plus in between that. Okay, so circle it, make your wall. Now the wall helps us out because here's why the wall is drawn. Because a lot of people don't know if they should put 7 underneath or 3 underneath. The wall helps me decide, okay, I'm on this side of the wall, so negative 7 is the one we have to balance out, okay? So I put 7 and 7. That's the number we put under, but not with a line. Don't be underlining it, because then you'll think you're dividing. You're not on this step. Okay, now up top, you see negative or positive 7. You see negative, so you need to plus 7. Get rid of that. okay? Because watch, negative 7 plus 7 is 0. So that's why I'm able to cross it out. So we got 1 dot x, and I go negative 3 plus 7, that's 4. That completes that step. Now I have a multiplier, but since it is a 1, I can get rid of it, and we got 4. Okay, example 5, 8 plus x equals negative 2. Okay, so again, multiplier of 1, plus minus, times divide. Okay, so outside, on this side of the wall, I have an 8, okay? So I put 8 and 8, not with a line though. Now look up above, your 8 has no sign, that means it's a positive. So if I look up there and see that that number is positive, I'm going to minus. Because 8 minus 8 is 0. And then I minus 8 from negative 2. So we have 1 dot x, negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. Okay, your multiplier is a 1, you can get that out of there. Negative 10. Okay, example 6. 5 equals, put a 1 dot x, okay, plus minus times divide. Now the wall's on this side, so it's the 3 I need to put underneath. Now look up top, your 3 is a negative, so you are going to put a plus 3. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0, and then 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, get that 1 out of there. And that's your answer, x equals 8. Makes sense, because that originally said 5 equals x minus 3. Well, if I put 8 in for x, 8 minus 3 is 5. That's how that works. All right, make that 5 a negative. Just do it. I want to change the problem, because that's too easy. I mean, it's obviously 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, but if I make the 5 a negative, then it's a little better. A little more up to where your level's at, because that's too easy. Plus minus times divide. Okay. All right, put the 1 in front, dot it right there. That's out. Okay, so 4, 4. Now up there I have a positive 4, so I need to subtract minus 4. So we have 1 dot x equals negative 5 minus 4. That's how you punch that in. Okay, you make your top number a negative. Okay, and then don't put negative 4. You need to put minus 4. So the minus button's over here. It's negative 9. Get that out. There you are. Okay, my last problem. X minus 10 equals negative 2. So okay, so plus minus times divide. Okay, so on that side you have a 10. So 10 is the number you balance. That's what it's called, balancing equations. Okay, what I do to one side I have to do the other by adding or subtracting. Okay, look up above. Your 10 is a negative 10. Okay, when you have a minus in front of the number, it's a negative. So if I see a negative up there, I need to cancel it by adding. So I add 10 and add 10. So I got 1 times x. I go negative 2 plus 10. Okay, 8. Don't need, if their multiplier is a 1, get rid of it. You got 8. Okay, and then do the practice problems then on the other side. Okay, remember to put 1s as multipliers on the x. Okay.